Joy Behar said this on The View. The audience applauded, but many men heard something else.
Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men to not be such sexists. Maybe that's
But the stats don't bear that out now that we've seen the election results.
Sam's research found that comments like that, widely shared online, feed a perception that Democrats see men as the problem rather than as part of the solution. Something remarkable happened in 2024 that Democrats still haven't figured out how to fix. Young men, once a key part of their coalition, they bailed. And they didn't just stay home, they went to Donald Trump. In fact, CNN exit polling shows more than half the male vote nationwide, 55%, went to Trump, while Harris got just 42%. And among men under 30, they went from supporting Democrats in 2020 by 15 points to backing the GOP in 2024 by 13, an enormous swing. No wonder the party is taking a long, hard look inward, which brings me to the Speaking with American Men Project, or SAM. Got a $20 billion budget, and an urgent mission. Win back a generation of men who feel ignored, ridiculed, and left behind.
So there's no doubt that the Democrats have been on the ropes lately, and they are having a hard time figuring out how they may ever recover a lot of the voters they used to have. What I did find interesting this past weekend is CNN did a cover story about the young men and how the young men shifted to Trump in the last election. And I want to take a deeper dive look at what's going on with young people and especially the young men in this country right now. So I must admit, I do appreciate CNN covering this topic, and there's some interesting statistics that show up in here.
Women in their late 20s are now far more likely than men to hold a college degree, 47% versus 37%. Left behind in the dating pool. Pew data show roughly 6 in 10 men under 30 are single, about double of young women. Men are getting left out of the labor force as well. The Federal Reserve reports that the share of prime-age men not participating in the labor force has roughly doubled since the 1970s, reaching 11% in 2022. Mental health, another flashpoint. CDC figures reveal men comprise nearly 80% of U.S. suicide deaths. The SAM Project's findings reflecting a lot of these numbers. After conducting 60 hours of focus groups, media analysis, and polling, here's what they've discovered. Young men feel disconnected from civic life. They distrust politics, education, even the job market. They feel shame about their mental health, conflicted about their masculinity.
Provide a definition for the word woman.
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Conflicted about their masculinity and struggling with economic anxiety, even those who are making six figures. And yet, check this out, in the Democratic Party's own Who We Serve platform, which is posted online, they mention a whole list of constituency groups: African Americans, Americans with disabilities, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, Democrats abroad, ethnic Americans, Latinos, faith community, LGBTQ+ community, Native Americans, rural Americans, seniors and retirees, small business community, union members and families, veterans and military families, women, young people and students, but not men. That's a lot of votes to disregard. New polling shows it's not that men are shifting hard to the right politically. They're tuning out. 37% of young men now view both major parties negatively, reflecting disillusionment with institutions over partisan zeal.
So we mentioned new voters, which is also young voters, another way to say that. And now I want to talk about men. And here's something from the New York Times. This is written by our friend of the show, Shane Goldmacher. The prospectus for one new $20 million effort obtained by the Times aims to reverse the erosion of Democratic support among young men, especially online. It is codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, and promises investments to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and the virility in these spaces. It recommends buying advertisements in video games, among other things. So you're the man here. I will not mansplain you. All I will say is, duh.
Yeah, I know. Look, they should have probably recognized this a couple of cycles before when this trend was growing very apparent. This was a huge problem for them in the past election cycle, and they they need to figure it out, because right now the Democratic message is really all over the place. What do they stand for as they head into the midterm elections?
So when Bill Maher joked about the Democratic Party's retreat to figure out the crisis, he struck a nerve.
So they had a meeting up at the Ritz-Carlton at Half Moon Bay, south of San Francisco. I'm not making this up, where they served mini lobster rolls and had heirloom tomato carpaccio and seared sea bass in their conclave to decide how to win back the American man.
And when young men do tune in and look for voices that reflect them, guess who's talking to them? Check out this chart from Media Matters. It compares the total following of left-leaning and right-leaning online programs. Right-wing male influencers, they dominate. Ben Shapiro, 25 million. Jordan Peterson, 23 million. Joe Rogan, 40 million. The left has no comparable reach. Let's also note the fact that this media is filling a space at a time when socially, men's circles shrinking. 15% of men, 15%, have no close friends. That's up from 3% in 1990. And young men are spending their time with their online friends on YouTube, podcasts, Twitch, Discord, with a Rogan or a Shapiro in spaces where Democrats hardly show up. According to reporting from Politico, even progressives who launched the SAM project were mocked by fellow Democrats for taking this demographic seriously. But maybe they should pay attention. Because as William Galston wrote in the Wall Street Journal, the shift is real. Since 2012, support for Democratic presidential candidates among Black, Latino, Asian men dropped 16%.
What do you make of the demographics here? I mean, Trump got 1 out of every 3 voters of color.
No.
Yeah.
1 out of
33%.
No. Really?
Galston argues that race isn't the dividing line anymore. Education level and economic status are. And that Trump has built a diverse, working-class coalition that may outlive him. Just listen to what our own Harry Enton says about this coalition.
Now in our latest CNN poll among registered voters, which is the party of the middle class? It is tied. This, I think, speaks to Democratic ills more than anything else. They have traditionally been the party of the middle class. No more. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have taken that mantle away, and now a key advantage for Democrats historically has gone adios amigos, and now there is no party that is the party of the middle class. Republicans have completely closed the gap.
So what now? Maybe Sam is a start, a serious attempt to listen, not lecture, and to engage young men in the spaces where they already live. Joining me now is one of the people behind this effort. Elise Hogue is co-founder of the Speaking with American Men project. Elise, thank you for being here.
So I assume you're thinking the same thing I am. After all of these statistics, what does the Democrats do to try to reach young men after the way things turned out in the last election? They get a woman to be in charge of it.
Democrats see men as the problem rather than as part of the solution.